Good morning, YouTube. How's it going? Today I will be making a tutorial video on how I edit my pictures on Lightroom Classic. I do like the look of the Classic versus the Adobe Lightroom CC just because it's more like professional. I have all my like presets right here that I don't normally use, but I have them just in case. And then I have my toolbar on my right with everything, every single thing, down to the brush detail, gradient tools, even spot corrections, which I don't like to use in Lightroom because it's never accurate, so I switch over to Photoshop to do that for me. Yep, so this is one of my favorite pictures from a shoot that I collaborated with Nikki BRZ. Shout out to you right here, Blue BRZ. That is Nikki BRZ. I'll have her tag somewhere in the video. Anyways, we got up super early, drove to this undisclosed location, I cannot say, at around 7 a.m. just to catch the sunrise. And not gonna lie, some of the shots I took are pretty fire. So I'm gonna start editing it right now. Oh, before I start, some pictures are a little overexposed and some are underexposed. I never find the right amount of exposure before taking a picture, so if you see me using the exposure tool a lot, that's because I don't know how to take a fucking picture. Alright, so this picture is alright, lighting's okay, but I'm just gonna play around with the tool, see if I want more exposure or want less exposure. Less exposure looks really nice. I can see my taillights a little better, but Nikki's taillight is a little soft right here, so like I don't want to decrease it too much, but I don't know. I'll leave that untouched for now and just play with the other tools. For my highlights, I like to go, sometimes if I'm taking a sunrise or a sunset shot, I want to go low because that way you can see a little ball of sunlight right here, and then you can see the blue skies and the clouds and this, whatever this is right here. And yeah. Oh, by the way, I shot this picture on a Canon 10 to 18 millimeter 4.5 f4.5 to 5.6. It's a wide angle lens, not a fisheye. People get that mistaken all the time. And I do enjoy this lens because I just love taking wide angle pics for some reason. I like it more than my 50mm prime, but I'm starting this year, 2019, I'm starting to use my 50mm more often or more frequently. Shadows, I normally bump up shadows on all my pics, including the whites, and I decrease my blacks. Sometimes I leave the blacks untouched if it has enough black. And then let's see, let's go here. Clarity, I'm just gonna bump it up to a nice 40. That way you can see the car a little more detailed right here, and it does throw the color a little off, so I will do color correction in a bit. I never touch the saturation tool. I always touch the vibrance tool because it brings the colors out a little more softly than saturation will. So this is what saturation would do to your picture. It looks like an Instagram edit, whereas if I use the vibrance tool, I'll put it all the way. It looks the same, but like it's much more easier to edit using the vibrance tool. See, her car is a little more blue now, and the sky is a little more blue, but it's on the purple side, so we'll fix that in a minute. Blue, decrease it down towards the teal turquoise area, so the sky is a little cool right here. I'm sorry, a little warm, I should say. And then my aquas, I will keep them towards the blue, just so it doesn't throw off the back windshields. Sometimes if I go aqua, you can see the color reflection off the windows. So I go to a nice blue, so just to eliminate much of the color reflection on the windows. Greens, I used to bump my greens all the way to the right, but now I kind of like slide it to the left a little. I'm sorry, a lot, because it fits well with the picture. Yellows to the left, oranges. Oranges are a little more difficult because as you can see, it turns the sun either red or completely yellow, and so you just gotta play with it depending on the angle and the lighting of your picture. So right there should be good. My reds, specifically for tail lights, I am gonna put it at a nice -15. And then saturation, I like to bump my saturation a lot for the reds just to bring out the tail lights, and hers needs to be more lit, more color, more saturated. There we go. Actually a little too saturated. Oranges I bring up, yellows I bring up definitely, greens I'll bring them up, aquas I'll bring down. See, so now it eliminates that color reflection off more than messing with the hues. And then blues, a friend of mine, a very good friend of mine, always told me to always desaturate the blues, but sometimes I like to give a little bit of blue, and so I'm not going to desaturate completely. So that should be good. Let me see. That is too desaturated in my opinion. If this was a picture with just my car only, then yeah, I would desaturate a lot of the blues, but because my friend's car is blue, so like I don't want to get rid of the color on her car because I like that color too. So I'll just decrease it very little of it. Purples, do I see any purples? Sometimes when you're editing your saturation color, you can see purple outlining on the car, and that's very common. So if I do see that, like I normally zero it out or as close to zero as possible so you don't see that purple or magenta. So far the picture is looking very nice. Luminance, I rarely ever touch this honestly, but you can use it. It just either brings down the color, the highlight of the color down or up, as you can see. And like I said, I rarely ever touch it, but yeah. And then highlights right here, you can edit specific highlights, so to a different color. And I like to keep my highlights at a nice 25, which is in between red and yellow, so an orangish kind of look. And then I bring my saturation tool up to 6. 6 is like usually the maximum, but if a picture really needs it, then I'll go beyond 6. And right now it's perfect. You can see if I play around with the color tool a little bit, you can definitely see the change in color. So I keep it right between yellow and orange, the perfect amount of color. Shadows, I like to keep a blue. It's just so the picture is not too warm, if that makes any sense. But I do sometimes like to put my shadows a little warmer than normal, but like right now it's just too warm, so too cool, so I'll bring down the saturation to about 2, and that's perfect. Right there, I think I found the perfect position. Also need to rotate the picture a little. It's off just a tiny bit. Okay, moving on. This is the tone curve. I usually mess with the RGB first. So what RGB is red, green, and blue. What it does is that it changes the tone of the picture, obviously. Tone curve right there. And so some pictures I like to give a little bit of a faded look. So I bring the first endpoint up a little, and then I create another point somewhere around this area, and then I bring that down to the baseline, and then somewhere right here I bring I create another point and bring it up to a little over baseline, and right here is where it gives more exposure and highlights around from between this point of the picture and this point of the picture. I'll show you. Actually, a little more above, but like you get the picture. No pun intended. And the last endpoint, I bring it down just to eliminate most of the unwanted exposure where the sun is. So it's more natural, I should say. And now, as you can see, the picture is a little undersaturated. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add more contrast. You can see the difference now. Adding contrast just fits so well with faded pictures. And it's looking really, really nice so far. I do like the color of the sun, so I'm going to show you guys what I do to enhance the sunlight, or like make it look more awesome, I should say, or Instagram worthy, I should say. I'm going to create a radial tool right here and invert. When you invert, you're editing what's inside the circle versus outside the circle. And so I'm going to bring up the exposure just a little bit. That's too much. So right there is fine. And then I'll bring my temperature up too, just so it looks more colorful and nice. And then down, where the fuck is it? Color right here. I click on this and I get to select a color. That way I'm coloring what's inside the circle. So let's see, let's put it, trying to match the color, the base color of the sun. So we're like right here. I want it more on the orange side, so it looks more, it looks like a sunlight or sunrise. Actually, that's too orange, so I'm going to decrease that. There, right there should be good, but I'm going to move it over to a yellow as well. There we go. X that out. Widen the circle. Shit, that still looks unnatural. I'll get rid of that. Get rid of that too. Actually, I'll bring this a little brighter. There we go. There we go. Now that looks a little better. Alright. What should I do next? Scroll down, scroll down. Oh, right here. Sharpening tool. I like to sharpen my pictures a lot, and masking tool I usually keep under 50. Masking tool just eliminates some of the grain that you can see if you zoom in. Same with noise reduction. I keep it under 30, so anywhere between 1 and 30 is perfect. Otherwise, the picture is going to look too, I'll show you in a minute, it's going to look too water and pastel looking like this. It looks like it's painted, in my opinion. So that's, I used to put a lot of luminance, but not anymore. So 20 is good. Remove chromatic aberrations. Enable profile corrections. I stopped using enable. I've stopped, God, I can't talk for shit right now. I've stopped check marking this box because it just gets rid of the nice vignetting effect of my pictures, and so I do it more naturally now by using a gradient tool. A radial tool, and I'm gonna make the center a little brighter, inverting and putting up the exposure like that. So I've got to widen. There we go. And then I create a new gradient tool in the same spot, but this time I'm gonna add the vignetting, my own vignetting effect, like that. Much. There we go. So what we've done so far was exposure, presence, tone curve, hue, saturation, highlights, shadows, sharpening, and noise reduction. And now we use the gradient tool. Put a gradient tool right here, just so I can darken this area of the picture. Actually, before we do that, let me delete that real quick. I am going to crop the picture to an Instagram crop because of how large this is. This is not going to fit well on Instagram. It loses pixels, so I'm going to enter a custom ratio, aspect ratio, which is 5:4. That's the horizontal aspect ratio on Instagram. There we go. And then just center the picture perfectly like that. Also need to rotate a little bit. I honestly don't even know which way to rotate, but I'm trying to eyeball this as best as I can. There we go. I think that's perfectly even. I don't know. What are your thoughts? Oh, man. Cars are not centered, so I'm I'm gonna shrink this a little bit. There we go. That's a little better. Yeah, much better. All right, back to our gradient tool. I'm gonna put one right here, not too much actually. And then I'm gonna darken the exposure in this area so it looks nice. And then I'm also gonna add another gradient tool on the top of the picture. But I'm not gonna underexpose it too much, just so you can see the blue skies and everything. And then I'm gonna bring the temperature down too, just for a nice blue effect. Now I can work with my main exposure tool. I'm gonna bring it up just a tiny bit, like that much is fine. And voila. Actually, hold up. I'm sorry, I'm not done yet. I also have the reds, greens, and blues to play with on the tone curve, but I normally don't touch blues and greens, or greens and blues, because I don't like the after look. I usually mess with the reds, and I'll show you what I mean in just a second. Creating a point down here, and then creating a point up here. There we go. So this just, I don't know how to explain this part of the tone curve. It just adds colors where I want the colors to be, if that makes sense. And so we are done. But now I think I'm just gonna fix the sunlight a little because it's a little too yellow. There we go. I think that should be good. Yeah, I think. Fix this too. And I think that's it. So, okay, that's it. This is how I edit my pictures. It doesn't take me very long to edit them, but because I'm making this video, it's taking me a little while because I'm giving you instructions, or like I'm giving you tips and advice on how to better your picture. Oh, I forgot to touch the temperature and tint tool. Duh. All right, let's see what I can do right here. If I decrease the blues, it looks all right. If I increase the temperature, it looks all right too. Actually, like right there. I like it right there. And then tint, green or purple tint. I want to bring the purple tint up to a 10. There we go. It's details like this that really, really catches my eye. Like, I'll notice it in a picture if someone else edits it. And I don't know. I just like playing with pictures and like colors and yeah. I'm a photographer, so what do you expect? That's it. And we are done. I'm going to show you the after pic right now. Bam. This is the the before pic, and this is after. Before, after, before, after. Looks really, really good. I like it. I'm going to bring down the fade a little bit, though. There we go. What are your guys' thoughts? Let me know it on my Instagram at slow.brz, and also shout out to Nikki BRZ right here at Nikki BRZ. Follow her. She's pretty cool. Pretty chill. And yeah, that's it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed my tutorial. I hope you guys learned something, and so that way you can edit your own pictures next time you decide to take a picture. Lightroom is like the best lighting editing tool ever. It was the best investment I've ever spent. And yeah, thanks for watching. Peace out. I'll see you in the next video.